What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Iron Chapel podcast. This is episode 5, and we're going to be talking about sleep, recovery, and everything to go along with it. We'll probably branch a little bit into nutrition a little bit as well, too, because that has to do with it. But we're going to start today with some questions that I took on an Instagram poll. We got a few questions. So the first one we got is, what are the benefits to pre-workout? So that probably has a bit of a connection with the recent release of Swole Resurrection pre-workout from the Iron Chapel. And the way I see it, pre-workout just gives you the energy and the caffeine to do it, which personally I don't think you need a lot of caffeine to have energy going into a workout. If you have natural energy, that's much better than having to rely on chemicals. But the other ingredients in pre-workout, specifically in my pre-workout, I have 7 grams of citrulline malate, which gives you a good pump. It lets blood flow into the muscle much better. I have 4 grams of beta-alanine, which is what makes people itchy and feel weird when they take pre-workout, but it increases muscular endurance, and especially when taken in a higher dosage like I have in my pre-workout. And then also I have L-glutamine, which basically just helps it digest so that it doesn't bind up your stomach and make you have to go to the bathroom while you're working out. It just makes it easier on your stomach, which actually has really helped with me too with that when I take my own pre-workout. And then caffeine and flavoring also into it. But it basically just makes you get more out of your workout. What do you guys think? Have any comments on that?
Well, before we jump in, we have a guest replacement here.
Yeah,
we have Vlad.
I forgot to mention that,
We
Hello,
got
guys.
Vlad, the big guy.
Yeah, covering for Ninja today. Ninja couldn't make it, so we got Vlad in here.
Vlad the presser.
How you guys doing?
Vlad was also one of the testers for our pre-workout, and
Yes, sir.
his review was pretty similar to most of them that we've got. Is the pump was good, the focus was good for the most part, but the flavors not too good. Mario wasn't a fan of the flavor,
The flavors were trash. The workout was fine.
So once I got the pre-workout, right, it says fruit punch. I was like, all right, fruit punch. I'm expecting fruit punch. Was that even close to fruit punch? I was like, what? So I was like, you know what? Time to chug this thing, go to workout, get a nice pump out of it. Sick pump, like it. Tingly. I was like feeling like all like the tingles on my hands.
Yeah.
I was just doing back, also my back too, but great pump I got out of it.
Yeah, and that's with having more beta-alanine, which goes back to the question. That's like the main ingredient in pre-workout that brings like good, like actual workout results. Because like if you don't take beta-alanine, you might lose out on a rep or two during your workout, or over time that adds up to, or even more than a few reps every workout. Like you might, it could really help you get a bit more out of your workout. So that's that question. The second question we'll move on to is pros and cons of lifting heavy with less reps or lifting lighter with more reps. I think that's a good question that Mario can kind of answer a little bit here.
Go for it. That's a great question.
Yeah.
So
This one might take a bit of time, but we'll try to keep it.
Let me read that one again so I can
That one
fully
right there.
understand the question here. Pros and cons of lifting heavy with less reps with lifting. Okay, so lifting is a very intricate art, sport, whatever you want to call it.
Programming, yeah.
Programming, yeah.
It's
It's
very
very intrinsic.
Is that a word?
Intrinsic's a word. I don't know if I'm using it
Lord.
right, but it's intrinsic.
All right, just pretend.
What's it called? For working out to build muscle or to have any types of growth or strength, you need to have progressive overload. So you do have to go heavier or have more reps. For us, we are powerlifters. I don't know.
Athletics, either
More
way.
athletics, yeah.
Just
so
sport
either way,
specific.
Yeah, so for everyone is always going to want to be bigger, better, and stronger. So for lifting, no matter what you're lifting, it's stabilized force produced, that's the wrong thing. It's going to be speed times force equals power.
Yeah.
Or speed times power equals force. It's one of those. So you want to have, this is where conjugate comes from in elite FTS, where they have a max effort day. So it's lower reps, higher weight, and you're trying to produce as much force as possible. And then they have a dynamic effort day, which is more speed, more high reps, and using both of those days to produce an outcome that you will have later on. So it is good to do heavy lifting, but it's always good to progress in everything that you do. And there's always 2 progression lanes. There's always more reps, and there's always more weight that you can go into. So there's always something that you can do, and both of them are good for you.
Yeah, I'll expand on that a little bit too, because it has to do with, like you said, programming is intricate, and rep ranges have like the biggest thing to do with how much weight you can use. Obviously, lower reps, like the question says, you're going to be using more weight, or you should be using more weight for training with a good enough intensity, and higher reps you'll be using less weight so that you can do more reps, obviously. So it depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
If you're going for strength, you typically want to cover a bit of like most of the rep ranges. You want to be in higher and lower rep ranges, but mostly in the lower rep ranges with heavier weight, because that's where you're performing. If you're an endurance athlete, and like I know when I program for hockey players, I do a lot of both. I do a lot of lower rep ranges to get that initial strength, but as it gets closer to the season, I program a lot of higher rep ranges because you need that endurance, especially with that weight. It helps out. And hypertrophy, like you mentioned, building muscle. I mean, everyone has their different things to say with what rep ranges is ideal for hypertrophy. Personally, for that reason, I like to have like 6 to 12 reps. I usually don't go much more than that, unless it's like an isolation exercise, and you should be just going completely to failure with that. And anything lower, you could train lower if you're training like singles, doubles, triples, something like that, to work on strength, because strength has a carryover with muscle growth, definitely. But I mean, yeah, just having all those rep ranges and focusing on what your goals are is the best way to program with that stuff.
I think that's why conjugate is so well, because you have 2 days of the lower rep range with higher weight, and then you have 2 days of a higher rep range with lower weight.
Yeah, because
you get the best of both worlds. You get the hypertrophy and the force, and then together, like I said before, the formula is always going to be speed times power equals force. So it's always going to be, it always has to be those two, but how you mix and match them is like what you said before, depending on your goal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason why I would put a lot of like higher rep ranges too, not a lot, but a good amount in powerlifting training as well, is because when you're under the bar, and you might be losing out on reps with heavy weight just because you're not conditioned enough.
Yeah.
Like I know specifically with squats, there's a lot of times where I'm standing there and I can definitely do more reps, but I'm like huffing and puffing and I can't breathe because that's just bad conditioning at this time, which that's something that I'd always try to work on, doing a lot more conditioning. I'll go ride my bike. That's really good conditioning for the legs, or strongman cardio is also awesome. Yeah. So any comments on that, Vlad?
I can add on some stuff. Like during swim season, we always focus on endurance.
Yeah.
Huge endurance sport. Because we're always pulling as much water. So pretty much the main exercise most swimmers usually do is pull-ups. Yep. Pull-ups is one of the best back exercises, hands down. And it is good for endurance and it's really good for power.
Yeah.
So when season started, I always focus on like just going nice and slow on the decentric phase.
Yep. And
then I just explode up as much as I can. Just to fully like pretend I'm in the swim meet, because it's the same thing. I'm pulling, and then I'm just going down just to like add on some more force and just to go forward and faster.
Yeah, and that has to do with sport-specific programming and exercise choice too. Yeah. But that was a good answer to that question. And last question was, my mom goes, "Who designed your amazing labels?" Shout out to my mom for designing the labels. So that's it for today's Q&A. So we'll get into the topic of recovery and sleep, and why recovering is just as important as working out. So I think we could start specifically with sleep. Sleep is one thing that a lot of people these days don't get enough of, especially athletes. And I'm sure you guys can attest to that, especially in season. It's tough to get enough sleep. But it's so important, because that's when your body is recovering from your workout or your performance if you're playing in a sport. And that's what allows you to get better and even just stay the same. Like if you don't sleep enough, you will get worse over time because you won't be able to recover. And especially with like muscle growth and strength growth, it's important to be able to recover before you go on to your next workout for that like body part of that movement. so then you can have like the muscles working properly. So recovery is a big thing, and sleep plays into that too. You guys have any comments on?
Yeah, so sleep is, before we get into like active or like awake recovery, the number one thing is sleep. You sleep a third of your life, so it is important, and you don't want to miss out on sleep because that's what makes you have cognitive function during the day. For a lot
what gives you function in general, like bodily function and mind.
Yeah. So sleep is huge, and the more you can control it, the better it is. The temperature, where you're sleeping, how you're sleeping, stuff like that. Sleep is like kind of like the ultimate reset. So sleep you need for everything, for cognitive recovery, for physical recovery, and for just an all-out like restart. So I still
looking for it.
Yeah. Like lately, my sleep has been terrible.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest. It's not been really going good. I've been getting like maximum of 7. I wish I can get more to like 9.
Yeah.
But like maximum would be 7. Just like, I don't know, schedule's going crazy. My sleep's going like I'm hardly getting sleep. I'm only taking power naps, but even with power naps, like I still need that full 6 through 9 hours of sleep.
So for me, I like sleep more than anything else as I've been getting older.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously.
So Mario hibernates every day.
Yeah, so I go once I'm in bed at night, like as soon as I'm out, I'm out.
Yeah.
My alarm clock can go off. If I'm not ready to get up,
I'm not
getting up. So I've been late to classes. I've been late to like I was late today because I just woke up late. Because it's like
we got done what we needed to. We got our work got done.
Basically, yeah. And I was like, there's no what's it called? I'm gonna sleep as much as I need to sleep. I mean, if I have to go to work, then that's different. But like, school is not as well. It's important, but it's not as important as work. And the other thing is too is like, why would I put myself at risk of getting into an accident if I'm not like awake?
Yeah.
Right. If I'm not awake, why even put myself on the road?
Yeah.
Right?
Why are you risking yourself?
There's two things. There's two things in kind of life that you need to do without breaking it. You need to have adequate sleep, and you can't do anything else besides sleep at that time.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that you can't do anything else while you're doing it is driving, because you need to get somewhere without looking at your phone.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or without being distracted with the kids in the car, or without playing on, like, there's so many things. So 2 things in life that you need to do by itself, undistracted. Yeah. And unfortunately, catastrophically, too many people fall asleep at the wheel and run into problems.
That is true.
So,
That is true.
people just need to figure out how to put their priorities straight. And together.
I'll add on to that, like what Vlad was saying, how he's not getting a lot of sleep. Like the way I like to optimize my sleep, the worst thing you can do for sleep, and it's like literally everyone does it, is have an alarm clock. Like having something else wake you up in the morning can be the number one, like it'll ruin your progress and just your day in general.
Yeah.
If you wake up on your own, specifically with the sun, like that's how your body is meant to go to sleep and wake up with as the sun goes down, you're supposed to go to sleep maybe a bit after, and you're supposed to wake up with the sun coming up. That's the ideal way, but that's not like ideal for today's society. So what I like to do is I go to sleep around like the same time every night. I go to sleep when I'm tired. I'm usually in bed and sleeping around like 10 o'clock, so that's not too bad. And trying to keep the phone off and devices off before you go to bed is good too, because that'll just let you calm down and get ready for bed. I like to do something that's stress relieving before bed. Like for me personally, I like to play my guitar a bit before bed, because that just gets me like calmed down and focused on getting ready to sleep, which kind of sounds weird, like focusing on sleep, but it's really important. And then when I wake up, I just wake up whenever I can. Like when I'm ready to get up, then I get up, and that's how I'm most optimal every day. And that's how I get the most done every day, because I'm not tired. And obviously the weather plays a big difference in it. Like yesterday, terrible weather. I was so tired all day. I went to class and there was like 5 people out. I would assume just because of the weather, because no one wanted to get up. But I mean, some things you can't control like that. That'll just suck the energy out of you. But I mean, as long as if you're getting enough sleep and you're waking up on your own, that's the best case scenario. Like that's the best way. And waking up on your own is also it'll help you get back to sleep at night too, because you don't have that disruptive like noise or whatever into your like your sleep schedule, which is good. So I like to keep a solid sleep schedule and definitely wake up on my own. That's like the biggest thing. So
Oh, yeah.
So big thing, another big thing. What do you guys do before like bed, nutrition wise, like eating wise?
Nutrition-wise.
I mean, I have dinner. I usually have dinner around like 7 o'clock maybe, and that's like my last big meal. Sometimes I'll have some snacks. I like to have a lot of like fats and stuff before bed because it's slowly digesting and it'll digest the entire time you're asleep. So I don't wake up super hungry. Like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, I need some food, but I'm not like starving. Like if you have like sugar and crap before bed, you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh man, I'm so drained, I'm so tired. Like you don't have enough calories. And that just makes it like, for athletics specifically, a lot of like high level athletes will literally wake up overnight to sleep. Or to eat, not to sleep.
Yeah.
So like I want to try to eliminate that because I like getting all my sleep at once. If I wake up in the middle of the night to go do something, then it'll kind of keep me up. So eating fats and stuff before bed, like milk, these protein shakes are good too, the Fairlife ones. Love these things. And I do a cup of heavy cream, 800 calories in a cup. All fats, dude.
Jeez.
Heavy cream.
And
man.
I mean, a lot of people can't do that because my body just goes through calories like it's nothing. So I'm kind of blessed in that way that I can do that. But it makes me feel strong. It makes me sleep better at night because my stomach is satiated. I'm not thinking about eating before I go to bed once I have that. I literally have some snacks before maybe, have my cup of heavy cream, go brush my teeth, and then I'm in bed. So that's basically how I go to sleep. What about you, Vlad?
For me, like dinner wise, I usually have around like 8:30 is when I usually have dinner. I like to have at least like a meal with like pretty high protein. So like once like I wake up, I'm like, all right, I don't feel like too hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So some chicken, steak, usually eggs in there too for dinner. It's crazy, but rice here and there, protein shakes.
Yeah,
sometimes.
definitely having like protein and fats will help before bed
Oh,
because
yeah.
they digest slower. If you're having carbs, you'll probably wake up more hungry because it's going to digest within your first like 2 hours of sleep, if that. So
Like sometimes I usually eat like sandwiches before the bed. Once I wake up, I'm just starving.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I just
too much
I
carbs.
just complain. I'm like, oh dude, like I'm so hungry. Like can't even do it.
Yeah, no, I hate waking up hungry in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Worst thing ever.
Hate
No, I mean, so that's a good amount of sleep. We could come back to sleep in a little bit, but I want to move on to a bit like nutrition. And I think the biggest thing that has helped my recovery and everything is just having my set meals every day. Like I eat the same meals every day, except for dinner. But breakfast is fried rice and eggs. I post it on my Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
That's about 700, 800 calories for the meal. I don't measure it out exactly, but I tracked yesterday when I was making my food how much calories. And then for my lunches, I do like 2 or 3, maybe 4 sometimes too. I do my Mexican beef and rice, which I've talked about a few times, with hot sauce, cheese, and salsa. And I never get sick of that. I've been talking about that for weeks, and
Really?
I never get sick of it. Because if I want something different in my diet, or if I want something different, like taste-wise, I just change what cheese I'm using, change what salsa I'm using. I do mango salsa a lot. That's my favorite. Or I'll change the hot sauce
So you
for
change hot
different
sauce in
flavoring.
general?
What?
You just change the hot sauce in general.
Yeah, just like different kinds of hot sauce. My favorite one that I like to do with the mango salsa is a pineapple hot sauce from Hank Sauce, which is a New Jersey company down in Sea Isle City. I love their sauces. Their sauces are incredible. The best hot sauces I've ever had. But
So, how do you make a meal not boring?
just add stuff that you like. I mean, hot sauce is a good thing to do it because it's not very high calorie, especially compared to like ranch dressing. Barbecue sauce is terrible with calories. Like most sauces are just terrible with calories, but hot sauce, if you like that flavor, I think that's like one of the best ways to make a meal not boring. And if you're trying to cut weight, it definitely helps because it's low calorie, adds flavor, and seasoning too. I mean, I add seasoning to all my food. I'm not going to be a professional bodybuilder, so I don't need to have that dialed. Like a lot of professionals, they're like, yeah, no, I don't add seasoning to my eggs. I just eat plain eggs. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't know how
it's
people do that. It's foul.
I don't know.
I add so much salt and pepper to my eggs, and that's electrolytes. I mean, you need salt in your diet. So, and especially with that seasoning and the beef that I have, it makes it really good. So, and the salsa is not a lot of calories either. With mango salsa, I think it's like 50 calories for the amount that I use. And that meal, I forgot to mention, I think came around like 500 calories or so. So I'm having that like 3 or 4 times a day. So that counts up for a lot of my calories. And then dinner is just whatever. But having those same meals every day and make sure my protein and everything is good. So that's really helped with my recovery over the past few weeks, months, however long I've been doing it for a little while now. So what do you guys do with food in that kind of way? Like, I know Mario, you don't really like keep the same food, but
no, I try to keep it as clean as possible. But the thing for me is that like I always want to train on a full stomach, and I always want to sleep on a full stomach.
Yeah.
So no matter what, it's like satisfied. But training on a full stomach for me, it just always felt more productive. I picked it up from Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall. That was the number one rule, and for me, I was like, I mean, it makes sense. And then I started doing it, and then football just felt so much better. Like any sporting event just felt like 100 times better, and then training just feels so much better. The biggest thing for me is trying to stay hydrated. We have the canteen from Redcon, but on top of that is just trying to drink as much water as possible.
Yeah.
That's where sometimes I lack, because some days I'm just either like not super. It's not that I'm super busy. I'm just not aware to drink water.
Yeah.
As you're doing right now.
And if you're not super thirsty, then you don't like. Think
Or
about
if you're just like at school, like I'm just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to
not
just not fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to just sit there and be fine. But like it's hard to just sit there and like drink water. Or like when I'm working with like a client, I'm like, I should be drinking water now, because like, but like I just don't feel like it. It's just like finding the feel like it is like the worst thing.
No, we've talked about in the nutrition podcast, we talked about micronutrients, electrolytes a little bit. And I actually remember the name of the one. It was sodium potassium pump. That's what Ninja kept mentioning. Yeah, so stuff like that. Like electrolytes are something really important for recovery too. And that you said Canteen by Redcon 1. That's flavors are amazing with that, and it's basically just a bunch of different electrolytes, and it actually has coconut water extract in it, which I like to do coconut water sometimes intra-workout, because it's got really good electrolytes and vitamins, and it keeps you replenished. And with that kind of stuff, you have to make sure you drink enough water too.
Yeah.
With electrolytes, it's a balance between water and how much electrolytes you're taking in. Mm-hmm. If you don't have enough of either one or too much of either one, it can mess up your performance and just your mental cognitive function. So that's something that's really important. And especially with electrolytes, if you don't have enough, you'll just feel stiff. You'll feel like you can't move very well. So sometimes that's a point that you need to take more electrolytes and take more water in, so you don't feel that way. Yeah. And that's something really important. And micronutrients is definitely something that we could have an entire podcast talk about. But
the other thing that I take too is anytime that I have a training session or a training day that's like beyond a level like 8, like if I know it's coming, the day before, the day of, and the day after, I'll take 2 med kits a day. Yeah. So it's the little tiny micronutrient.
What's in there? It's just micronutrients?
It's just micronutrients times
vitamins?
Times like 100. Those things are insane. And what's it called? It makes me feel better, but I don't take it when I'm not like in like a training, if I know it's gonna be a lighter week, I won't take it. Mm-hmm. But I know if it's gonna be a heavier week or a harder week, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'll take it this day, this day, this. Like I'll plan it out.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing with your food too. Yeah, you could eat more if you're getting ready for one of those days, so that your recovery is optimized. Yeah. And we could talk about like active recovery too. So I posted a video about a week or 2 ago, maybe, about like a mobility day that I do every once in a while. And I think specifically for athletes, mobility is very important. Yeah. Now, I mentioned, this was after we made the podcast talking about a bit of mobility. And I mentioned that the way I see it, mobility is kind of on a spectrum of stability on one side and flexibility on the other side. Mm-hmm. And you want to be able to maximize all of that and be right in the middle so that you can have enough of both. And different exercises place themselves different on that spectrum. Like some will work more for flexibility, some will work more for stability. And it's just finding a balance and finding what you need to work on more with that. And I put in, I think there was like 10 or so exercises in that video that I made that people can use to make a really good mobility day for themselves. And I think taking an entire day for mobility is important for athletes pre-season, at least like once a month or maybe twice a month. And then in season, I think it should happen weekly. Like just stretch out the body, make sure everything's stable, because it's really important to make everything work.
Yeah.
And especially with that. And foam rolling too, we have the PVC foam roller. I know that's our favorite,
It's
much
nasty.
better than any
Best
foam
thing
roller.
ever.
Yeah, that we mentioned it last week too in lifting equipment. I would definitely recommend a PVC pipe over a foam roller any day.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that was really good. What else do you guys do for like active recovery?
Well, for me, like during like high school, during like high school swim, I usually do like a bunch of stretches a lot.
Yeah.
Like after like usually after like a swim workout, and like sometimes like after like once school is over, I usually go to the gym, hit like I focus on mostly hypertrophy and stuff like that and power. So after that, I usually do more stretches, just like fully fully get my back nice, well stretched out,
Yeah.
so I can feel. So like for the next day, for next practice, I feel like my whole body's just ready, like fully recovered.
Yeah.
So
And that's important for you too, to pick out stretches that specifically target the lats too, because you do a lot of the lats, upper back, everything.
lats.
You got to make sure that doesn't get tightened up,
Oh yeah,
because that could be detrimental.
and for track, because the track too, it kills your legs. So I
Oh, yeah.
always find a way to like try to like get my legs well relaxed. I always focus on mobility as much as I can, because mobility is very important for track,
Yeah.
without a doubt. But yeah, just I like to use the foam roller a
Yeah,
lot, the
definitely.
lacrosse ball.
Lacrosse ball is awesome.
Lacrosse
That's
ball's nice.
good for finding
Underrated.
a specific spot. Yeah. No, but Ninja has that the massage gun too. He's
Oh,
got like an
massage
actual one. I have one that I just bought. You could buy the bit on it, or on Amazon, and it just goes into any kind of jigsaw, like
That's
an
sick.
actual saw for cutting stuff. And that it's loud, but it works.
And
I mean,
Hey,
it's also got a bit more range of motion than the normal ones, so yeah, it's a bit more hardcore, but I like it. It works for me sometimes. But honestly, those things, they're a little bit like gimmicky. Like they work to help with the pain and help loosen up the muscles, but I don't think they're necessary by any means. That foam roller I don't think is necessary. It definitely helps. I think the foam roller would come before a massage gun,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
just because especially like that one, it just makes it better overall. But I mean, if you think about like the pyramid of recovery, like the base is like the most important stuff. At the base, nutrition, sleep,
Moving.
active recovery, like staying moving, especially for injuries, like staying moving.
Yeah.
Movement is medicine. Like that's
Yeah.
proven. Staying moving will keep your body healthier. And
Well,
obviously, if you have a bad injury, don't try to push through it. But
Yeah.
I mean, movement helps out definitely. And then all those like other like foam roller and
Vince McMahon said it. Motion is lotion. It's the best medicine
Yeah.
you can have.
there you go. Yeah, it's exactly true. It's like, and like Ninja said last week, you got to keep some WD-40 in your gym bag for your joints.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's movement right there. You stay moving and your joints will stay nice and loose.
Oh yeah, like track season, like after we're done with the workout, I try my best to go like walk around the track field, just feel like less pain on like on my joints and stuff like that.
And that
Mostly
lets
my calves.
Yeah, definitely calves. Oh yeah.
Calves are on fire after the workout.
And that helps your heart rate slow down at like a controlled rate instead of just going from like running to nothing. Then your heart's just like, why am I pumping so much blood? So it's just like slows down way too quick, and that's what makes people feel tired.
Yeah.
It's just that quick change. Like if you walk a couple laps after you run something and kind of taper down to like resting, yeah, I can guarantee you'll be less tired after your workout. Like that's just how your body works.
Wrestling, I think, was like the worst. I had to stretch not only like 20 minutes before practice, but then I had to take like an extra 20 minutes at night to stretch just to not feel like garbage waking up. And I mean, no matter what, you felt like garbage. But what's it called? The stretching for that, because you're getting turned in like such weird directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to use like such weird muscles. Not weird muscles, but you have to use like every muscle.
Yeah.
So it's like to stretch everything, like neck, forearms, like wrists, calves, like everything has to be stretched. And like football is the same way too, because you have all this tight gear on.
Yeah.
So you have to like super stretch your hip flexors. You have to super stretch your shoulders. It's like, oh my gosh, like everything is just like stretched beyond compare, and you're like, oh my gosh, this sucks.
Yeah, and that plays into the like picking what exercises to use to stretch and for stability too. You need a lot of stability for wrestling, like especially your ball and socket joints, like your shoulders and your hips. There's a lot of small muscles in there that keep it stable and in place. Yeah. And training those muscles for any sport is really important, but shoulders especially for wrestling, because that's a lot of your movement is just rotating at the shoulder.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And how would you recover, like if you hurt one of those small muscles in your shoulder in wrestling? Have you ever experienced that, and how would you recover?
I hurt my shoulders in football, so both of them I've hurt. What's it called? You just keep moving, suck it up, and just as soon as that, because it's like you don't want to stop, because it's like once you stop, then they're gonna take you out for a month and a half, and you're like, season's only 3 months. It's not something good to do, but I sucked it up and just
go with it.
Yeah, go with it. And did football, did wrestling. I was shot by the end of wrestling, and so the spring I just tried to get healthy again.
Yeah, and that's something that has to do with like what's it called? I kind of just lost my train of thought. Well, sucking it up, it's kind of like trying to think.
Like wearing gloves.
Man.
Gotta love gloves.
No, but it's like.
My man might make a mess already.
My man didn't really just
the gloves.
The gloves.
The gloves got him.
It was the gloves. I didn't have enough grip to.
Not enough grip for sure.
Not enough grip.
Mario needs lifting gloves for drinking his friggin' seltzer.
Yeah.
No, but like sucking it up in season is kind of like you gotta think about the injury, and if it's like a serious injury, like you might just mess yourself up more. But if you know it's kind of just like something that's strained, you could brace it or something like that, or like keep it moving in a good range of motion. So because your ligaments and your tendons will tighten up and lose their like they'll adapt quicker than muscles on the losing side. Like if you stop lifting, your ligaments and tendons will adapt much quicker, and it's the opposite for getting stronger. Like your muscles will get stronger quicker than your tendons will. So that's something that recovery takes a big part in, because for example with my knee last year, I partially tore my quad tendon on my knee, and when you tear a tendon, it can't repair itself. So you have to take the time to go through the motions, full range of motion with it, so that it doesn't tighten up in a weird way, which mine tightened up very weird because it was only partially tore, so the rest of it was still there, and that's what you have to strengthen, is the rest of that tendon that's still holding on, and you can strengthen it to be very strong and hold whatever you're going to be putting at it. And that's something that recovery takes a big toll with. Tendons are not something you want to mess with, because the recovery for those can be months. Like mine was, I was having pain in my knees basically up until recently, so basically up until a year after the injury happened, I was still having a little bit of pain. But it only took me a few months to get over the debilitating effects of it. Like I was able to squat back 315 by the end of last summer, so it only took about 6 months or so. But yeah, that's where movement is medicine comes into, with literally everything. Movement, good nutrition. I was eating everything I needed to, lots of vegetables to keep everything right. So yeah, we could talk about a bit of macronutrients, which we talked about in nutrition. But when you have an injury, or if you need to recover from a workout, what you eat will go directly to where it's needed right away. And protein obviously will be the best to help that out, obviously. And having carbs too, like when you just work out, to recover from your workout properly, what I do is I have a fast digesting carb right after my workout, and I give that like 10 minutes to digest, and by then it's like mostly through, and it causes a insulin spike. And then you have protein if you take creatine, I think that's the best time to take it too, because that insulin spike will drive it with the nutrients to the muscles. And I think one great thing with controlling your insulin spikes is grape juice. If you take grape juice, there's so much sugar in that, and it's so fast digesting, and it's not acidic, so it won't mess with any supplements you take. So it really causes a nice insulin spike there.
Yeah.
Have you ever done like any stuff with like really controlling your insulin spikes around your workouts to recover, or no?
To recover, no.
No.
To produce force, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So to produce force, I did the Larry Wheels thing for like a couple months.
Yep.
The shots of honey.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think it was more a placebo than it was actual physical,
Could be.
like doing anything. But no, nothing afterwards. I mean, to digest, like you said before, to digest faster at breakfast or before lunch, I'll have the cranberry juice.
Yeah.
That's what
Cranberry
I do.
juice is also a really good one.
Yeah, to make
Yeah.
me more hungry. But I remember for wrestling, what I would do in the morning is to have an acidic, I guess an acidic insulin spike would be lemon juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have like
Sugars in
8
there.
ounces of lemon water juice, and
Mhm.
it would absolutely wreck my stomach and make me starving. That way,
Really?
it would, yeah. So what it does is just activates your digestive system, and then from there, you eat your food, but it digests quicker because
Yeah.
now you've acidicized. To use that as a word, your stomach, so it makes it move so much quicker.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good idea. Like, I mean, any kind of carb you take is going to cause an insulin spike because that's just how your body works.
Yeah.
But you'll get the most out of it with a fast digesting sugar. Like glucose is the best because it's fast digesting. So what you eat it, it's basically out of your stomach in like 10, 20 minutes, depending on how fast your body digests it specifically. But it also, sugar is causes the most insulin spike in general. Like it's the most reactive carbohydrate for insulin, and that's why diabetics have a big problem with sugar because the insulin controls the blood sugar levels, and their bodies can't do that. So they're kind of at a disadvantage with that kind of stuff. But then they can also plan like their meals and everything around their workouts so that they're taking their dosage of insulin that they need around their workout, and that can actually really like help them and make some stuff easier. But that all just has to do with diet and nutrition, which we'll talk more about on another episode. We started that on the first one, but today I think we could talk a bit more about like sleep and food, because we mentioned fats will help you with your sleep because you're slow digesting and they'll take basically the entire night. But I want to talk specifically about like the difference between whey and casein protein. So whey protein digests fast. It's the fastest digesting protein. It's still not going to be as fast as your carbs, but it's pretty quick. So if you take that right after your carbs post-workout, it'll be good. But casein protein, I've taken that a few times like in the past before bed, and I think that's a great way to get some protein in before bed because it takes about 8 hours to digest like 24 grams of casein protein, and it's just a different part of milk. Have either of you guys ever used that or no?
Casein, no.
Casein,
No.
no, not really.
No.
Just because whey is so much more available.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whey is a
definitely.
difference.
Yeah. No, they have the different uses. I stopped using. I've only bought one tub of casein and I used about half of it and then stopped using it. I wasn't a big fan of casein because it was much thicker when you shake it up and it didn't taste as good. So that just kind of kept me away from it. But I mean, whey works definitely well. Like specifically post workout. Anywhere else in your workout, there's no difference between. Or anywhere else in your day, there's no difference between whey and just eating some beef.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that fast digesting unless it's pre or post workout.
Yeah.
And that's something that can really help with recovery too, is just focusing your meals around your workouts, especially if you're cutting. Like have all your carbs around your workouts. That's how you get the most.
I want to know more about Vlad's swimming experiences.
Yeah.
Because that's a sick, like that is one of the toughest sports. So
Oh yeah.
I want to hear like
Especially with training.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
pre and post
So
recovery.
we wake up early for swim, like
Oh,
super
God,
early.
yeah.
Like
2 in the morning.
I wake up usually at 4. Got to get there at school like around 5, and then the whole time we're just practicing, just at the Y, like throughout the night, and then right after like practice we go to school, and that's when I just feel so tired because waking up in the morning, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
So what do you eat before and after?
So before I usually don't eat anything,
Okay.
but like because I usually eat like a nice fat meal like before before I go to bed, just like I don't have to think about it. Like after my workout, like after workout, I eat like a granola bar. I usually sometimes have like this like protein water I used to have with me when I used to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually have that with my granola bar. And then like I feel kind of great for recovery. Like I got my protein, I got some nice carbs in, so I think I'll be good for throughout the school day. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't here and there.
Yeah.
It depends on how much I sleep beforehand.
Definitely.
So like just waking up early, it's not even fun. But I try my best for during swim season. I try my best to like keep myself like healthy.
Yeah.
And always like get a good amount of protein and carbs in.
Yeah.
Like before, like usually after like.
Would
after,
you
like,
lift
swim
while
workout.
you're in season? Like after school, would you go lift usually, or would you save that for the off season?
I sometimes do lift like
Okay.
during in season, but I don't go like heavy and stuff like that because
Yeah.
like I want to focus on like mostly on
Yeah,
hypertrophy.
your intensity wants to be in
Yeah.
your swim training.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah. I usually go on like cardio too. I usually hit on some
Mhm.
cardio after like,
Yeah.
a nice workout. I don't focus on going heavy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do if I feel like it. Usually like on a Friday, I usually go because I have Saturday, Sunday I have off. So it's
Yeah.
like why not go heavy? Maybe
Do we-
PR.
Have either of you guys had an issue with like while you're in season like losing weight? Because I know that's like a problem
Yes.
that's a problem that I always came across. Like my last hockey season last winter, I went into the season at like 195 to 200 pounds. It was somewhere in between there, and I came out I was like 187. So I lost like at least 8 pounds or so over the season, which isn't that bad over that amount of time. Like that's not unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, when I just weighed myself after the season, I was like, holy cow, like that's a lot of weight that I'm gonna have to make back.
Yeah.
Do you,
Well,
you
I
had
had-
that issue?
Yeah, I had that problem senior year of football. Started at 215, and I'm a small lineman at that. At 215, that's a small lineman.
Yeah.
What's it called? I tried to gain as much weight as physically possible before the season started.
Yeah.
Could not break 220. What's it called? In season, could not break 225. I had 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, a pre-practice meal, a post-practice meal, and 2 dinners. I'm
Yeah.
having 8 like legitimate
Yeah.
meals. Like all of the meals are at least. Well, the dinners were like 500. No, they were probably like 800 plus, like each dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was like I was having probably up to 4,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
Like, and I could not break 225. Did
Yeah.
not matter. I drank a gallon and a half of water a day. I felt great. Like I had so much energy.
Yeah.
But I was just so angry that I couldn't break this barrier, this 220. Because I'm playing kids that are like 310. Like,
Yeah.
like 280
Yeah,
to
big
320. It's like these guys are monsters. And like I was able to hold my own, but like holy crap, I was like, I can't break it. Now I'm like 260 and I'm like chilling. I'm like, this is
Oh, yeah.
sick. But like couldn't happen before. Like,
Yeah.
Like during swim, like you'd be surprised on how many calories you burn during like a swim practice.
yeah.
It's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
Every
like
muscle.
freshman, sophomore year, I was like skinny. I was like
Yeah.
skinny as hell. And then like because I wasn't really eating a lot. But like my junior year, I started like eating a lot more because I've been like burning even more calories out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I've been eating like a lot of food as I can. Usually a lot of junk, which is pretty bad. I eat a lot of junk food during like my junior year of swim. That's why I gained like so much fat out of nowhere. But at the same time, I've been burning so much that like, why not? And then like swim is just a killer just for calories. Like I've been having crazy endurance because of swim but like calories, oh my god, I've been nuts.
Yeah.
I have to eat like so many meals just to like fully like
Just
get out my weight.
Yeah, to stay in maintenance calories.
yeah, like the lowest I've been during swim season was like 135.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
usually
great.
like around like 140.
Uh-huh.
And so hitting 140 was like finally I hit that. And then like,
Yeah.
I want to add more weight because I want to get big for now.
Mhm.
So like every time I'm trying to add more weight, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard. But like now, like I've been understanding more about my body. Adding weight's like a bit more simpler now.
Yeah, because you're not like doing all that practice.
Oh, yeah.
And I could say the same thing too. Like I play hockey like once a week now. I have a game every week, and that doesn't burn as many calories as it was obviously in season because I was playing like literally every day. And I mean, I try to do some conditioning now just to keep like healthy and stay moving more, because especially when I'm doing big lifts, I'm always gassed. So that's something that I really am focusing on, is doing like conditioning, and also that helps with recovery because just staying moving and get everything moving in different ways. But I mean, my calories now, I actually think it's easier with the diet that I'm on now, is eating like the same food every day than like when I was going and getting fast food all the time, because not only like my training is better now, I get more out of my training. I might not be like gaining weight as fast as I did before, but that's not like entirely true. Like sometimes when I was pre-season, I would just be stuffing as much food as I can, like fast food, junk food, and yeah, I would gain weight, but I wasn't getting much out of my training during that time because that fast food is just terrible for you and all that stuff. And I've even been controlling like what I eat at home to make sure it's not like garbage. Like I don't do vegetable oil. That's motor oil. It's terrible. It's so terrible for you.
Oh, so bad.
But the only oil that I do is sesame oil, which I honestly might just start making my own. I want to look into that because that's something that I think actually has a big detriment on people's recovery, is just oils. Like seed oils, stuff like that.
Coconut oil is pretty good.
Coconut oil is good. Yeah, because coconut oil, that's what I like have been researching, is like if I look up a video of how to make a certain type of oil and it's not something I can do at my home, I'm not going to eat it. Like, because then it's artificial. Like, it's just garbage. I try to keep as much artificial stuff out of my diet as possible. I mean, except for like these. I don't know how Fairlife gets 30 grams of protein in milk. It's not a protein shake. It's literally milk. But I don't know how they do it, but everything, I try to keep as much like processed stuff out of my diet, and it makes you feel good. I'm gaining weight better than ever before because I'm always hungry. Like I don't feel like garbage. Get a lot out of my training, get good conditioning in. And the conditioning makes it a bit harder to gain weight, but I mean, I'm healthy, so my recovery is on point right now because of what I'm eating, which is actually great. So,
Do you guys meal prep or now?
I don't meal prep. I mean, I make all my, I'm usually here, so I don't have to put it in the containers.
Okay.
But I make like a few cups of rice like every other day or so. And then I make my beef too, and then I just scoop whenever I want to eat. I just put it in a bowl, microwave it, 5 minutes, it's ready. So kind of meal prep, but I don't put it in like it's containers already. But I don't really measure stuff out either. Like it's too particular for what I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a professional bodybuilder. I don't need to weigh out what I'm eating. As long as I'm eating enough, like that's the biggest point. What else do you guys do to help with your recovery? Like beyond like the basic food and sleep needs, like is there anything else you guys do to really help with that kind of stuff? Like specifically with weight training, we'll take a more.
I actually was just thinking about it. I really want to ask to do the swims again, the cold swims.
Yeah, cold
Those
swims.
are my favorite. Yeah, swimming after a lift or swimming for recovery is probably my favorite thing to do.
Well, the pool's not open yet, but
Feels nice.
we could go to the creek. The water. He doesn't like the water there. It's too cold.
Oh, it's just
That-
cold.
I love
Right.
it.
That's a no.
Frozen,
It's because
bro.
it's literally just a creek that
freezes.
it's constantly flowing under the cover of all the trees.
Ugh.
So cold.
I love it though. It's awesome.
Even swimming after work, it feels refreshing.
Yeah, definitely.
It just feels
I mean,
nice.
that's what I would do as a lifeguard. Like sometimes that lake there would get like warm and it was terrible. But like when it would rain, I would try to go for like a cold swim as much as I can.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Like I just go for a swim when I lifeguard too.
Yeah,
cold
exactly.
showers are good.
Cold showers are nice.
I like doing
I
cold
love
showers
cold showers.
once in a while. Yeah. In the summer, they're the best.
Yeah.
So
Usually, if I feel like moody, cold shower in the morning.
Moody. What
no, I'm not gonna lie, dude.
wakes you up.
It does.
I've actually told people that are like dealing with like mental health struggles, I'm like, take cold showers. I'm not gonna lie, like that makes all the difference because it literally takes your like you could be like set on like so stuck in your mind about something that's like really messing with you. You go take a cold shower, it's gone. You're not thinking about that anymore. It's like, I mean, it's questionable for bodily recovery, but no, it distracts your mind so hard. Try it, dude.
I don't know how I'd utilize that logic, but
Dude, I'm not gonna. It's helped me at times, dude. Cold showers, cold ice baths. like after hockey practice, I would be, or even games, I would take ice baths.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been shown in studies to like stunt recovery. I think it's not as big of a deal for athletic sports and weight training, more on like the athletic and powerlifting side. If you're doing hypertrophy, I would not ice anything because it actually interrupts your body's recovery mechanism because it reduces swelling, and swelling is your body's repair mechanism, which is why you get a pump when you lift in good volume and good weight. But if you're training for like athletics or powerlifting or something like that, I think ice baths aren't a bad thing. Like it completely like changes your mindset once you go into that ice bath.
Hot cold is really good.
Hot cold is good too. Yeah.
Contrast.
Yeah. One thing Ninja mentioned last week, icy hot. I think icy hot is good for pain, but it doesn't really do anything.
No.
It's only for pain.
It's good reliever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better, but it's better than
It's better than
oral
painkillers.
yeah.
Because those literally, I mean,
screw up your system.
those stop muscle growth. They stop muscle protein synthesis. Those, like, if you're taking that every time you train and you're not making progress, that's why.
Yeah.
Like, they literally stop muscle protein synthesis, which is not what you want, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with ice, I think it's also very helpful if you're in like a sports tournament or in a power. I'm not sure if you'd be able to do it in a powerlifting competition because you're
No, what they do is
if you can bring like ice packs and stuff.
So what they did at training at Elite FTS was, I saw it in one of their videos, is they take a spray bottle and they put ice cold water in it with ice in it.
Yeah.
And they'd have you spray your face, your
Yeah.
palms, and your feet.
Yeah.
And we have the same mechanism as SEALs, where when we have something cold either coming onto our face or the back of our spine, our body immediately adjusts into survival mode to go into that type of temperature.
Yeah.
So that's what they would do. They would shoot themselves in the face with ice cold water to cool themselves down, or on
Yeah.
the
It's
spine.
crazy.
And that has to do with
I never really thought of that.
Yeah.
And that's like when you're in the cold and hot and stuff like that, the whole idea behind that is vasodilation. It'll dilate your veins and arteries to move the blood where it needs to keep most warmth or get rid of the most warmth. So yeah, if you introduce cold to your body, it's going to put more of that blood into your core, and you'll get more nutrients through your body. If you're if you're hot, or if you're hot, no, that's hot going to cold. Yeah, if you're cold going to hot, and you start to warm yourself up, it'll put the blood towards your limbs, so that it can capture that heat that you're getting. And it's kind of the other way around if you don't have the heat. Like if you're just cold, it'll go to your core. If you're just overall hot, it'll go outside, because it's trying to transfer that heat where it's most necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're anywhere, like if you're training or just anything over 80, 90 degrees, you need a way to cool yourself down artificially, because your body is just not capable, especially if you're training.
Yeah.
Like when I'm lifting here over the summer, I'm drenched sweating. I have the doors open to have some air flowing through here, and the fans are all on.
Yeah.
And I'll take like a handheld fan or like a water bottle to spray myself, like a spray bottle, like you said. And that I've actually never really thought about that, putting ice into it. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
We should definitely do that lifting here in the spring.
Yeah.
Strongman cardio.
Summer, yeah.
Strongman cardio.
Yeah. I definitely still want to do some strongman cardio today. This stuff is so much fun.
Yeah. Well, I gotta start getting ready to go to work.
All right.
We do have to wrap this up pretty soon.
Is there anything else you guys want to cover on the idea of sleep and recovery?
Sleep more. I need more sleep right now.
Yeah.
Sleep more, eat more,
Yeah.
enjoy yourself,
Sleep more, eat more, lift more.
lift more.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, there's a lot of like scientific stuff that goes into sleep.
Yeah.
Like
there
the
is.
different stages of sleep. I don't think that's really, like, knowing that kind of stuff isn't really too necessary if you just struggle from, like, if you're just struggling sleeping, it's not that big of a deal for you to know that stuff. Like, just, I think the biggest thing with getting to sleep is put down all your devices. Like, you don't need to be on your phone within an hour or two of going to sleep. You don't need to be on the Xbox at night, because that's the one thing. Like, you're playing Call of Duty, that violence and those, even just the lights, like all that has your brain going into awake mode. Like you're not going to be able to go to sleep after that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is really big with sleep.
Warzone's changing people's minds now.
It's brainwashing.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right, but do we got anything else? Active recovery,
think we're all set.
Yeah, so that was a quick little episode of the podcast, just talking about some recovery stuff. That's actually the last episode of this season, so we'll take a little break doing episodes and record some more to have you guys within another month or two. So, want to say goodbye to the.
Peace out. See you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no
Yes,
problem,
sir.
Vlad.
Be
All right.
chill.
See everybody later.